and to protect our most vulnerable. We've done that. Now we need to learn to live with the virus and not hide from it. So once again, from the Lego 2 movie, everything is not awesome, but in my heart I believe we can make things better if we stick together and build it together. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Legoland's California Resort President, Mr. Kurt Stocks. Kurt.
Morning, everyone. Thank you to Supervisor Desmond and all our North County mayors who are here today. We appreciate the support in our communities coming together to address this dire need for businesses to open. Safety has always been our #1 priority, even before this pandemic. We have taken every precaution with our proposed health and safety plan to meet and exceed guidelines given to other businesses and industries. Look around. Legoland is mainly an outdoor park. We pride ourselves in the space we give guests to enjoy our scenic landscape and our amazing Lego models. Like many businesses, we have put many of our staff on furlough, and the longer we remain closed, the longer many hardworking people go without a job. So how will we operate when we reopen? Reduced capacity, temperature checks at entrance, cashless payments, face masks required for everyone 3 years and above, social distancing and new sanitization protocols in place from ride queues to food establishments, no indoor dining, the minimal rides we have that are indoors will remain closed, hand sanitizer stations throughout the park, 250 of them in fact. I'm a father of 3 young children. They absolutely love Legoland, as you might expect. But as a father, I recognize the need to give them the experiences and the enrichment they need in the beautiful Carlsbad sunshine and the things that they simply cannot get from staying at home. I have no hesitation in returning to San Diego attractions with my family. I assure you we are safe to play. So I call on the state to recognize the level of detailed planning undertaken by San Diego attractions to ready our operations to ensure the safety of our guests and our staff. Allow San Diego attractions to open in safe outdoor settings. Allow our staff to return to work, and allow us to go back to doing what we do best, which is putting smiles on the faces of San Diego families every day. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Kirk. Now we're going to hear from the mayor of the beautiful city of Carlsbad, where we are today, Mr. Matt Hall.
Well, I want to begin by saying thanks to Jim Desmond and Kristen Gaspar, probably 2 of the most pro-business advocates I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and my colleagues that are standing behind me. There's no closer working team than there is with the cities on the 78 corridor. And I think that's reflective of what we're doing here today. I also just want to mention about Lego. I can remember in the late 80s when Lego was a dream. I can remember when we cut the ribbon. And one thing Lego has always done for this community is been a partner. They've made every commitment we've asked, including high standards in their development, and given back so much to this community. I want to echo what Mr. Desmond said. In Carlsbad, our standards, our development standards are some of the highest in the country, and look what we've been able to create. Government should not be picking and choosing winners and losers when it comes to business. Let's set the standards, whatever they may be, and let's all live by those standards, whether you're the smallest business or the largest business. And I want to put in perspective when we talk about Carlsbad business and jobs. The leisure industry in Carlsbad represents about did represent about $28 million to us in transient occupancy tax. We also in Carlsbad, in the leisure industry, employ almost 20,000 people just here in Carlsbad. And Lego is one of the biggest job creators here in this region. So with that, I agree with Mr. Desmond, and I agree that we need to get business back and open. Thank you. I'd like to introduce my colleague from the other end of the book, Paul McNamara from Escondido.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for coming. I know this is an election year, and unfortunately, in election year, things often become or are labeled as partisan issues. This is really not a partisan issue. We are the elected leaders of everyone in North County, and the economists tell us that certain industries will survive COVID-19 quite easily, but there will be a lot of industries, especially the ones in our cities, that will not, and they need to reopen. And one of the things that we've asked the governor and the state is that we change the paradigm from essential and non-essential to standards. We've been in the COVID-19 era for a number of months now, and if we can switch the standards, set the standards, and if a company or a firm or organization can meet those standards, then let them open. We receive emails, letters every day of people who are still suffering, and we need to get them back to work. This is a leadership issue, and we need to step up, and we need to say to the governor that we can't just let some people survive and let others not. We've got to get back to work. And with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague of this North County Coalition, Mayor Judy Ritter from Vista.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's so strange to be at Legoland and not have any children running around everywhere. So I know my grandkids love it here. Legoland and our surrounding communities along the 78 corridor have always experienced a positive regional partnership. The tourists and the visitors to all of our cities bring overflow to all of our hotels, our restaurants, our shopping areas, and to our Vista award-winning Moonlight Amphitheater. All of our surrounding cities very much appreciate the partnership that we have with Legoland and all that they contribute to our communities as well as here in Carlsbad. One thing that's frustrating is the economic toll coronavirus has taken on all of our businesses, and unfortunately, countless small businesses have been forced to stay closed due to current orders related to what are called non-essential businesses. Vista has already lost some of those businesses due to the closures, while others are hanging on by a thread. We understand Vista has an obligation to follow the guidance of public health officials in order to maintain our community's safety and to help reduce the spread of the virus in our city and our county. However, it's a very tough time for our business sector and their employees. As I mentioned, our small business community has been especially affected by the COVID closures, many of whom work and live in Vista. Our barbershops, our hair salons, nail salons, who often cater to single customers safely, and to actually have protocols in place by the state licensing boards for sterilizing and new safety regulations, but they can adapt easily to these new regulations. You could have your hair done and your nails done and your hair cut with masks on, and everything can be sanitized before and after each person. These local business owners are vital not only to Vista's economic prosperity, but to the region's as well. Even though we are all actively taking steps to support our business owners during this critical time, we urgently need our state's assistance as well. We need consistency and common sense guidelines that pertain to all businesses that can follow the state guidelines and safely open in a safe and effective manner. Our business owners are smart and they can adapt to these guidelines. All different kinds of businesses can do it. I encourage the state to establish preventative guidelines that allow for the reopening of all our businesses according to the standards rather than the type of industry, and that are able to safely comply with the health orders. Thank you, and I want to introduce my cohort. I think it's Rebecca Jones from San Marcos. I wasn't sure which one it was.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Oh gosh, every day, all of the suffering that's going on in our communities, by our business owners, by our parents, our kids need to go back to school, and I'm glad that that is finally now happening. However, we have parents that cannot work. They cannot get back to putting food on their table and a roof over their heads. So we're looking to have the state show some leadership and bring forth common sense by, of course, applying safety protocols first, but bringing forth guidelines so that every business can open. The subjective looking at businesses saying this business is essential and that is not, every business is essential because it employs people. And my residents and people outside of our community also reach out to me. We need local control. Why is San Diego County being treated the same, Rebecca, as Los Angeles? They have more infection than we do. And so I tell them, I'm sorry, I don't really have an answer for that. So we're looking for local control. It's vital that we get treated properly for curving, flattening that curve, for following the protocols, and we need to make sure that we are able to open these businesses. So no more blanket regulations from our state of California. Treat San Diego County the way that we have been following the protocols and making sure that we're keeping everyone safe. Open our businesses for our prosperity and the health and mental health of all of our communities. Thank you very much, and I think Mr. Feller from Oceanside is coming up. Thank you.
So do I need to speak with the mask on? I want to thank Supervisor Desmond and Supervisor Gaspar for being champions for small business. Kirk, I would love to say I'd love to open you right this minute, but I don't think that's possible. Oceanside is also in North County, and we rely on businesses like Legoland to be part of our community. It's part of our income, just like many other cities, and Oceanside is in one accord with all of these mayors and supervisors as far as opening businesses early and often. I thank you for the time today, and I'm representing Peter, who I'm not sure, he might be campaigning. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to everyone, all of our mayors who actually stood here the whole time in the sun sweating, and appreciate the collaboration in North County that we have, for working together with each other. It's been happening for over a decade, and hopefully will continue to happen. And Legoland is a great part of our economy, great part of tourism here in North County. We want to see them open. This is a great outdoor area park. It should not be penalized. It should be treated similar to other major attractions in San Diego County, and we look forward, hopefully, to coming back for the a ribbon cutting or something to that effect if we, when you get to open up. We hope it's anytime soon, but we're going to keep pushing and writing letters to the governor and knocking on the door and making sure that we're heard and we're following the rules in San Diego County, and we should be rewarded for it. So is there any questions you have for Kirk or myself or the mayors? Or sure, if you want to do one-on-ones, if you want to grab people in the shade for some questions, that'd be fine. If anybody's willing. So with that, thank you very much for coming out today. Enjoy what you can of the park, and hopefully we can be open very soon here at Legoland. Did you have any last words, Kurt? Come on, you gotta say something.
No, nothing huge for me. Just thank you everyone for being here today. It's obviously very important to us. I appreciate the support of all the mayors being here today, and of course Supervisor Desmond for pulling the event together. I think it's a critical message. I'm glad to see there's so much support for it, and hopefully the state will hear us. Thanks.